The views and opinions expressed on the Craig L. Hayes Show do not necessarily reflect those of Westgate Resorts ownership or management. And now, on with the show.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
All right, we are back with Mark Swift for episode 3 here at the Westgate Resort International Showroom, Elvis Presley's dressing room, with episode 3 with Mark discussing some of the things that he's done in his career in audio. He's a 99.9% audio guy. You know, he'd help with us on some things here and there, but audio is where he was at, and he did excellent, superb, and all those other adjectives and stuff that describe his work. So anyways, you were here. Here's the good and the bad, and tell me if I'm wrong, of being the head audio here in this room. On some shows, you actually get to do what you love doing, mixing.
Correct.
But a lot of shows bring in their own engineer, so you help them set up, and you go and you sit co-pilot, you sit over there and during the show.
And you also give them all the parts and pieces that they might need, or help them with that. If it's one of the aspects of that, but sometimes it's frustrating.
Yeah, especially when you know the room and they want to come in and think they're going to reinvent everything that you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Like, no, you're not going to do this, guys. You're not going to retune this room. The room is tuned. It's perfect. You're not going to get it sounding any better of a room. And if your mix doesn't sound right, it's your mix.
I used to let them do it, and then they ended up coming back to what I had already done anyway. Usually, so you got to give them a little bit of leeway.
Yeah.
And but most of the real good ones will go, let's listen to it first.
Yeah, it's a good idea, huh?
But I used to work with a couple guys on the road that were wanting to restack people's PA before we even walked into the building. So I knew how to deal with that from both sides. So that's why I was accommodating to the guys that would want to do that. And, have at it if that's what you think you need to do. So it's usually never a problem, but the frustrating part was not being able to help. Some guys are receptive, and most of them wouldn't be if there was a point where they might need some help.
Yeah.
That's a fine line.
And you like to mix. You like getting in there and mixing, meaning blending the sounds together so it comes out sounding like an album, and making the sound just so you can hear everything and it sounds great. And you're like me. If you're going to do audio, you want to actually do the audio. You want to do hands-on. You want to do all that stuff. And so, unfortunately, you make good money in this hotel. But the downside is you don't get to get hands-on on a lot of shows. You get to just co-pilot, And so it can be kind of, well, I'm making a good dollar, but I'd really love to have my hands on it because I would sit there and go out there and listen to what the guys would be mixing out there, and I'd go back into my sound head and go, oh, they're missing this and this. They could fix this, and and you being out front of house watching all these shows, you're probably doing the same thing, going,
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's just not quite there, guys. Your hands are moving 100 miles an hour all over that console, but you should be stopping and listening to what's going on, and it's not there like it needs to be. And
the biggest fun if the guys were receptive, if you could give them a few pointers that they could use without offending anybody. That's the fine line, because it's not supposed to be offending anybody. You're not trying to tell them what to do, but maybe give them a few tips on how to do their things better, which is what I always tried to do. The fun part of that was when some of the guys from CES would come in, and like one guy, Bruce was his name, would turn around and looked at me one day. He goes, "Isn't there anything I can ever ask you for?" And I'd be standing. I would look, because I would be standing behind him, and I'd look and see what he was doing. I'd figure out what adapters he needed, so I'd go get them. He'd turn around, "Can I?" And I'd have them in my hands already, and it used to freak him out. How do you do that? Because I would stand here watching what you were doing. I wasn't doing anything.
You did the Bud Wolf.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bud would do that sometimes too.
And that's fun too,
Yeah.
to hook somebody up and make their day easier, because that's part of the house position as well. You
Yeah.
can't just, everybody's got to have a good day. And the people that come to see the shows don't care of what happens leading up to, because they don't know. They want to see a good show. So that's the main goal is a good show.
The good show. The only thing that matters is the show.
Yeah, pretty much.
The egos and everything have to take second, third, fourth precedent on that stuff. It's the show that counts.
Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. But
No. Well, all I know is, eventually down the road, you had left, and you're out doing, stuff at Caesars with Wayne Newton and David Perico and such, and then we come back in, and it's time for Purple Rain. And the thing I liked about it with me is, and I appreciated about you is I'd say, hey, can you come over and get this thing fired up, because I'm going to actually be running the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then and by the way, can you teach me how to run this PM1D?
Pretty much.
Yeah. I'm an old analog guy. I came over here. I hadn't touched in all honesty, I had not touched a console in 20 years.
Yeah, and then to step onto a 1D after not doing that.
Yeah, that was like that's
Quite
like
a
going
different-
from shooting a rocket in your backyard to stepping on the space shuttle
Pretty much.
and trying to figure out how to run it. And thank heavens you and me had so much similarities. You keep it simple. Don't overcomplex everything. Don't make everything crazy. Just audio in, audio out.
Too many guys that do what we do or what housewise. Some of them put things in. It's like my motto is, you never know if you're going to be here the next day. You never know. So how can you make it so if there was an emergency, if something happened or something you couldn't, an earth-shattering event, and I can't be there tomorrow. And if you set it up to where nobody else can do it, that's counterproductive to what's going on in the building, because you can't do that.
Yeah.
And you have to make it easy and user-friendly for whoever, so somebody can walk up and figure it out. Because there's no job security, and a lot of people do it that way, and they make it so you can't figure stuff out, thinking that's job security. But what if you're not there? Or what
Yeah.
if you get fired? What if something happens? And it happened to me. So you got to make it easy to be somebody else to step to plate.
Yeah.
You can't make it to where you can't figure it out.
And that's what I appreciated about you on so many levels, because when we're setting up Purple Rain and stuff, you set it up almost exactly like I would have set it up back 20 years before. And then you just had to show me, well, if you need to work on this, you need to hit this button. He pulls it up here, up, you deal with it all right here. And then you this up, and then literally within a half hour. So I was doing that PM1D.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I couldn't go deep like you could into the console, because that thing can do more. That thing could do so much.
Yeah, now they got stuff, the new ones that do even more than that.
Yeah, but for me, running an audio, running audio and doing it, it was perfect. You had it set up just perfect for me, and it was awesome. And
Good.
Jason Tanner was just like so happy. He came in there. He would always come out there when he would the other the Morse Day and the Time stuff would be on stage, and he'd take a break. He'd come out and stand behind me, and then I'd look back at him. He was just like smiling, like, "Oh yeah,
That's cool.
that's the sound right there."
Yeah, I run into him from time to time.
Yeah, I talk to him on the phone every so often.
On
and-
corporate stuff.
I talk to him on the phone every so often, and yeah, it's good, and yeah, that was a fun show to do. It's the only one I did, and I haven't touched the console ever since. So it's been.
Well, part of the give and back part of this business too that we do is to teach somebody how to run a console properly, and to teach the guy that's coming behind you, the guy that's how I learned. I mean, you can't not show people that stuff. And it's fun now, later in life, to have guys come back and go, I can't believe the things that I learned from you, and I don't even realize it because I do it naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to hear that now because I don't realize it.
Yeah.
So,
You know, when I went to retire a little year and a half ago, told people I'm retiring. I'm on my last year. So all you guys that are here in this venue, you youngsters and stuff, that we had some young guys, it would probably behoove you to have me teach you what I know, and I'll teach you anything and everything I know. And I started trying to do little classes and teach people, and you know, to a certain degree, it worked, and to others, it right over their head and in one ear and out the other type of a thing.
yeah, that's the receptiveness these days isn't the same.
Yeah, and that was too bad because this guys, you know, I got a little knowledge in my head that I'd like to give everybody, but nobody wanted it.
I've always tried to do that, like all the way along, and it's fun because there's been a lot of guys that have gone on to be quite successful, and it's fun to hear them tell me. And it's you can't believe what difference you made by just the little things, and that's for me was more rewarding than the rest.
Yeah,
So it's fun now to hear that, you know, like being back at the Ryman this year when I was there during the remodel in '94. And being able to go back and have my grandson there with me and all that kind of stuff. It comes around. It's kind of neat. So, you know, and then you're talking about retirement. I'm not far from that. When we started Donnie 4 years ago, he made a comment. He goes, if I go 10 years, will you guys stay with me? Well, he just turned 67 the other day. So we're in year 4. That does mean we, 7 left? Or no, not 7, 6 years left.
Yeah.
And so who knows? And I can start. I don't do a lot of the outside stuff as much anymore. Some with Milt and some things like that, and the ones that I really like. So I just pick and choose the ones that I want and stay away from the ones that I don't. And it's more fun. It's a lot more fun. So anyway,
it's nice. I mean, it's you gotta, you know, for someone that came here with the primetime country, to where you're known all over town. Now, you know, you're known everywhere, and people are always, if there's an issue or something like that, hey, get Swift over here.
well, the hall used to send me to the ones that would have to go bail them out a lot, which was fun too, because then you could, and it wasn't so much to go in and to make somebody look bad, it was to come in and help them finish the project that they started.
Yeah.
And learn how to do it with an easier way, maybe that would alleviate the crash where they came to the problem.
And if they were smart, they'd put their ego in check and say, how did you do that? Will you show me so I don't do this again?
And I would go, absolutely.
Exactly.
So,
I mean,
and you can tell when people are standoffish, but I'm here to help you. It's not.
yeah, I'm not here to rub your nose in your mistake. I'm here to make it so you don't get
like
your nose in a mistake again.
I told True the other day, so just, relax with some of this stuff. I don't expect you to mix like me.
No.
I said, maybe one day, but not today. Just do mix for you, and watch the people in the crowd and make sure you don't hurt them, and make it pleasant, make it fun, and go with it. So it's fun to hopefully show that, and if you portray all that, and the band's having fun, the crowd's having fun, everything's kind of together. That's what you want.
If it gels, man, if the sound is just on the money, if everything, the band feels it. I mean, even though they're behind the PA, the band feels it. They can tell. It gels, man. It has just a energy transference going on that's just incredible. I used to love doing front of house. It just was so cool doing front of house sound. You know.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I ever asked you about this. We were talking about Lee Greenwood, and I don't know if we ever spoke about this. When you were touring, were you with Lee in '84, '5, '6 in that time period?
Yeah, well, 85, 6, and 85 through 92.
Okay, so did you do his stuff down at the Golden Nugget?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things of paths crossing. You know, you were across the street. I was at the Mint doing the Mint
We
Lounge.
probably came over there drinking.
Most people that worked at the Golden Nugget came
I
over.
hung out with Chris Becks and Bill Bill, what's his, well, he ended up later running a labor company. But they were all at the Nugget too at the time. And we used to stumble across to the Pioneer or go across the street to, we ended up downstairs at the Horseshoe a few times and the restaurant and things. So I'm sure we did cross paths over there.
Because a lot of the guys that would do the shows across the street would come over and see like Cedro's Armada and some of the shows that we did. And
Yeah.
Willie Nelson would always coming across and hanging out with Cedro. And
I'm pretty sure we did. And, it's like, well, Greg Comita was they were all at the Nugget. Aaron Gordon was at the Nugget then. And Chris Becks was who I worked with most of the time. And we used to flip coins. You going to mix tonight or am I going to mix tonight? Just for fun, even though I'd mix it anyway. But it was good. I was there every time.
is Chris retired now?
Yeah, he's making guitars, I heard.
Oh, good for him. Yeah, I hadn't heard his name out there in a long time. I was just wondering what's going on with some of these guys.
Yeah, he's doing well, but he's making. Last I heard, he was building guitars.
Well,
I didn't think that I would. I don't know if he ever did that before, but he may have, and we just never knew it.
so I guess the saying would be for him, old audio guys never, die or retire. They just go build guitars.
I guess so.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see what happens when I get to the end of this Donny Osmond experience, and I don't know about building guitars. We'll
So
see.
6 more years. You'll be how old will you be in 6 years?
Oh, let's see. What did I just turn? 63. So 71.
You can run this for another 6
As long
years.
as my doctors still are amazed that I look the way I do and I don't have any medication other than some sinus stuff, that they're happy. So if I can keep it that way, I'm happy.
Nice.
So anyway, I can't think of anything else at the moment.
Yeah. Been a good career, huh?
Yeah, and it's been, like I said, I can't. It feels like with Donnie and stuff. It's nice as we were on a flight to Toronto, and we were talking, and I don't, I can talk to him a lot because he's so busy, and I don't expect to. But the cool thing was, it's like we looked at each other. So, the coolest thing about this is we really don't even have to talk to each other, and we don't, and it's cool, and it's, and the one day that we were in Lancaster, Pennsylvania last year. I didn't realize what day it was till later. And he was, I just want to hear the band play for a minute here, and listened to about half a song, threw his arms up and smiled at me and walked off. And he just went Swift, threw his arms up in the air, then smiled and stomped out and wandered out. And it was a pretty significant day for me, so, and I didn't realize it later. So, but that made it all worthwhile. So.
Well, can you say what day it was, or?
That would be my day of sobriety 10 years ago. So.
All is going well.
Yeah, and that was one of those. I didn't, I wished part of the and the recovery part was for, if I don't do this, I'm not gonna be able to do things like I used to, and was to mix something like I used to before in Nashville, the Nashville stuff like that, and just be busy for a while I still can, and I have both of those, so that's working nicely.
Well, I'm glad you're doing well with that, because I can't believe it's been 10 years.
Yep, no complaints.
Man, that flew by pretty quick.
Pretty nicely though.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's staying busy doing the stuff you love,
Yep.
And you should be doing exactly what you're doing. I wish I owned a showroom or a venue, because I know the guy I would have come and
Right now it's nice.
set it up.
It feels like I'm where I'm supposed to be, so it
Yeah.
feels good.
I know if I had one, I'd say, Swift, when you get through with Donnie, come on over and help me set this thing up.
Yep, there we go. Could do that.
And we'll pay you really well, and I'll get her going so I can get a couple people, because I'd love to have a place I could do that with and just teach some people,
Yeah, I did one last week at the Lou Ruvo Brain Institute for the Nevada School of the Arts, and speaking of teaching people, it wasn't made for the show. I had to do the entire thing in front of the sound system, So it was quite an interesting day. So then there's those. So.
Yeah.
But that was given back because I started out, and why I mentioned it is 'cause I started out in the School of the Arts kind of stuff, like I told you in the beginning, going to the theaters for theater classes and things. So that was a good chance to give back for their gala and stuff. Even though, yes, I did pretty okay for money wise, but Mr. Perico took care of that part. So
Good.
but it was good. So.
Well, Swift, it's been great having you on this podcast. It's one of the guys I really respect and treasure his friendship and
You as well?
I'm glad to be able to say he's a friend and just respect you for everything you've done in 10 years. That is awesome.
Great.
I'm so happy for you.
Best thing I ever, best healthy and best thing I think I've ever done.
That's incredible.
Without knowing it. Yeah.
Well, at least you're doing it, and that's what I'm so happy about. And
I don't miss it at all.
yeah, well, you got better things going. And so happy for you, and got a couple grandkids that are.
Oh man. And then some, the boys. 2 boys. Yep.
That's awesome. And
8 and 3.
life is good. This is a great business to be in if you do it right. It's a terrible business to be in if you do it wrong. And,
I've always looked at it. I do audio because I enjoy it. It's supposed to be fun.
yeah,
And if you make it fun and you make everybody else seem, enjoy with that part of it, the rest conveys to the rest of the show too. And,
Yep.
And it comes out and everything. So it usually works well. So
absolutely. All right. Well, thanks, Mark. Thanks for coming in and spending some time with me, and I appreciate that. And we'll be bumping in and talking again, even though I'm retired. I finally retired, and it's
you know where to find me. I know what your number is.
it's a phone call away.
We'll do that. So
Yeah. All right. So, folks, thanks for joining us here at the Westgate Resort in Elvis Presley's dressing room in the International Theater, and for another interview. And we got more coming up later. And until then, Talbot, take it away.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.